The Pokemon market is going absolutely bananas over Phantasmal Flames, and honestly, I might be too. But before you roll your eyes and think here's another YouTuber jumping on the hype train, let me explain what makes this set different and why it might be one of the smartest collecting moves that I make this year. But first, if you're new to this channel, on this channel, I help people collect cards smarter. I talk about market trends, collecting strategies, and how to avoid those costly mistakes that I made when I first started collecting. Feel free to subscribe if that sounds like your thing. And before we dive into why Phantasmal Flames has me more excited than a kid finding a holographic Charizard, I want to invite you to join my free school community. The link is down below in the description. It's where we can discuss cards, market trends, and it's also where I host a weekly community pack opening session. It's where you bring packs and I bring packs and we open them on camera together. If that type of hangout interests you, check it out down below. The Charizard Legacy. Now let's talk about why Phantasmal Flames is basically the new Charizard set for the Mega Evolutions era, and to understand why that matters, we need to look at how previous Charizard sets have performed over time. Back in 2014, we had Flashfire. The top Charizard chase from that set, it's now worth over $600 raw, not graded, just raw. And in 2017, Burning Shadows dropped, and that Charizard chase is sitting over $500. 2020 brought us Darkness Ablaze, but here's where it gets interesting. That chase Charizard is significantly worth less than its predecessors, sitting at around $45 raw. Fast forward to 2023, we have Obsidian Flames, and we've got the chase Charizard sitting at just above $70. Now there might be a pattern, been an inconsistent pattern with recent Charizards. But here's the thing about Phantasmal Flames. If we took away the value of all these previous Charizard chase cards, the Phantasmal Flames Charizard sticks out like a sore thumb, and I mean that in the best way possible. What makes this Charizard special? The difference with Phantasmal Flames is that the Charizard actually looks good this time around. I know, it's like a controversial take, but it's as plain and simple as that. It's gonna be a high in demand card just because it looks good. There's something about that blue and red contrast that just hits different, and there's nothing better than having all three evolutions, Charmander, Charmeleon, and Charizard, placed beautifully into one card. The Pokemon illustrators really stepped up their game with this card in particular. The Charizard Special Illustration Rare in this set actually looks like a masterpiece. It's not just here's another Charizard breathing fire card. There's something special about having all the evolutions represented in one piece of artwork that makes it feel more complete or more collectible. I genuinely believe that this Charizard has a real chance of carrying the entire set's value over the long run. And that's not just the hype talking, that's looking at the fundamentals of what makes a good card valuable long term. And if we also compare it to its previous predecessors. Sealed product analysis, the smart money. Now from a sealed collector perspective, and this is where things get interesting, I believe that both the Elite Trainer Box and the Ultra Premium Collection are going to be highly sought out after, right? Just like any other set would. But the reason here is pretty straightforward. They both feature Charizard on the front cover. And I know, okay, John, that's obvious, people want sealed product, but here's the thing. Charizard is iconic, and it's probably the most popular Pokemon, period. And when you're looking at sealed product appreciation over time, having that iconic face on the front matters more than people realize. Charizard fans are absolutely fanatic for any time it comes to sealed product featuring Charizard. Inside the ETB, you'll find Sharkit, who isn't exactly a household name right now, but if you watch some of my other videos, you'll remember how I talk about how some Generation 9 Pokemon are starting to become blue chip Pokemon. Sharkadette and Ceruledge are two of them. So that promo card might be more valuable than people think. The UPC contains an Oricorio promo, but what makes this card huge is that it's illustrated by none other than Shinji Kanda. And if you don't know that name, you should. Shinji Kanda illustrated the Seismitoad from Black Bolt, the Magneton from Surging Sparks promos, and the Magikarp from Paldea Vault. The artwork is very distinct, and there's a whole community of collectors who specifically hunt down Shinji Kanda cards. The missing piece, a collector's lament. I only wish this set would have a Mega Gengar Special Illustration Rare. I mean, if you think about it, Phantasmal equals Gengar, Flames equals Charizard, it would have been the perfect thematic balance. But I feel like every time the Pokemon Company makes a Charizard themed set, the Charizard chase card just has to be the absolute standout. And honestly, I think that's intentional. They're diving deep into the fact that Charizard collectors are some of the most passionate, and let's be honest, some of the most willing to spend money among all collectors in the Pokemon space. Now let's talk about the other chase cards in the set, because it's not just the Charizard show here. We've got Mega Lopunny and Mega Sharpedo, which have interesting artwork, but are nowhere near as extravagant as the Mega Charizard XEX. Then there's the Rotom EX, which I can see having a decent price above $20, just because Rotom itself is such an interesting Pokemon. It's a Generation 4 Pokemon that can basically change forms into a variety of different appliances, which is pretty cool when you think about it. Plus, it's going to cater to all those Diamond, Pearl, and Platinum generation lovers, and you could actually see all of its forms in the background of this card, which is a nice touch for the lore enthusiasts. The nostalgia factor, Pokemon 151 cards. As far as the Pokemon 151 illustration cards in this set, we've got Dugong, Wigglytuff, and Meowth. And the illustration rares for these look absolutely fantastic. I feel like the Dugong would pair really well with the Cleffa illustration rare from Obsidian Flames. There's something about that art style that just works together, how they're both looking at the moon. Then I'm glad Wigglytuff is getting some love because its pre-evolution Jigglypuff is such an iconic Pokemon, being in games like Super Smash Bros. And all. But here's where it gets really interesting. The Meowth illustration rare, if you didn't know, this illustration rare is actually mimicking the original games. This is from the perspective of looking up Route 5, where Meowths can spawn in Kanto. The buildings in the background are the exact houses from Cerulean City, the Pokemon Center, and the house next to it. This card has some serious deep lore, and I love that attention to detail. There's also a Piplup coming out in the set, which will cater to any Generation 4 starter Pokemon collectors out there, or basically any Piplup lovers, of course. There's something about starter Pokemon illustration rares that seem to be making their mark in the current market. What I really like about this card, along with the other chase cards and Phantasmal Flames, is that they'll all most likely be market priced at a very reasonable and affordable level. I'm talking like at most $20, $30 for some of them. That's the sweet spot for collectors who want to enjoy beautiful cards without breaking the bank. The pull rate reality check. Now here's the reality check we all need to hear. The prices for these cards are going to largely depend on pull rates, of course. And this is where things get interesting from a market perspective. If we look back at Obsidian Flames, a lot of the card prices dropped because the pull rates were extremely generous. The top chase Charizard card was pulled at a rate of 1 in 216 packs, and special illustration rares had a pull rate of 1 in 32. Compare that to like Prismatic Evolutions, which has like the worst pull rates of the Scarlet and Violet era, where a special illustration rare was like 1 in 45. We can definitely see how pull rates in a set directly affect the prices. It'll be interesting to see what the pull rates are for Phantasmal Flames if they're not already out by the time this video releases. The Gold Card Conundrum. I do want to touch on the Mega Evolution Gold Hyper Rare cards because it seems like this is going to be one of the collector focal points across multiple Mega Evolution sets. Personally, this reminds me of the hyper rare Blood Moon EX from Twilight Masquerade. I'll be honest, I'm personally not a fan of the gold cards, but I recognize their market value. Because the pull rates of Mega Evolutions on cards like the Golden Lucario or the Golden Gardevoir were 1 in 1260, if Phantasmal Flames follows this same pattern, we could likely see its value go up significantly as well. Maybe it's because I've never held one in my hand that I don't see how beautiful these gold cards really are, but it'll be interesting to see how these play out long term. When I had the Blood Moon Ursaluna in my hand, the gold card version, I really didn't like it. Personal collecting strategy. Now, as I always say, collect what you want. There's no right or wrong way to build your collection. I personally love collecting sealed product just because of the way it displays in my room, so I'll definitely have the Pokemon Center ETBs and UPCs from Small Flames in my collection. But I'll also probably be opening a lot of Phantasmal Flames if I can get them at MSRP. And here's a pro tip. From someone who's made the mistake of paying scalper prices too many times, patience pays off. These products will restock. The Pokemon Company is printing more than ever before, so don't pay $85 for an Elite Trainer box that should be around $55 just because you're that excited. Trust me, I've been there and it's not worth it. Looking at this set from a long-term perspective, I think Phantasmal Flames has several things going for it that other recent sets haven't had. First, the artwork quality is generally exceptional, and when you're looking at cards that will hold value over 5 to 10 years, artwork quality matters more than short-term hype. Second, the Charizard factor. Like it or not, Charizard cards have proven their staying power over decades, even when individual cards dip in value. Charizard as a whole remains one of the most collected Pokemon. Third, the Mega Evolution theme. We're seeing renewed interest in older mechanics and Pokemon, and Mega Evolutions hits that sweet spot of nostalgia without being too old school. When I look at where Phantasmal Flames sits in the current market, it's competing with sets like Surging Sparks, Stellar Crown, Destined Rivals, Journey Together, and any other upcoming releases. But here's the thing. It doesn't have to compete with all of them when it comes to you collecting them. As I mentioned in my collecting tips, you don't need to collect every set that comes out. Focus on the ones that genuinely excite you. For me, right now, I'm focusing on opening Destined Rivals and then also this next Phantasmal Flame set. if I ever find them at MSRP. Why? Because I've learned that focusing on sets I truly want is way more fun than trying to collect everything just because it's available. It's better to have a complete collection of sets you love than a bunch of half-finished collections you bought on impulse. So is Phantasmal Flames worth the hype? In my opinion, it absolutely is for me. But not because everyone else is hyped about it, because it generally has the fundamentals of a strong set that appeal to me. It has great artwork, iconic Pokemon, reasonable expected pricing if I can find it at MSRP, and solid long-term potential. Whether you're a sealed collector, a singles hunter, or someone who just loves opening packs for the thrill of it, this set has something to offer. Just remember to be smart about it, make sure to do your own research, don't overpay, don't chase every single card from every single set, and collect what makes you happy. Now before I go, I want to invite you again to join our free school community. Link is down below in the description, where I'll soon be hosting weekly community pack openings. We could also discuss market trends, any insights, collecting tips, etc., and anything else Pokemon related. And if this video helped you out, do subscribe and hit that button. I've got more videos like this coming out soon. Thanks so much for watching, and I'll see you guys all in the next video.